Hi everyone, today you're going to learn how to use the test delivery system, the platform you'll be using to take the computer-based 7th grade FSA math assessment. On the day of the test, you'll be given a work folder to work through the problems. I believe it's about 3 or 4 pages. During each section of the FSA mathematics test, today you can just use your own paper. Just a reminder, on the first session, which you'll take on April 24th, you are doing, it is a no calculator section. And on April 25th, you are taking sessions 2 and 3, which you may use a calculator on. From here, just go ahead and hit sign in. You don't need to put in your name. And then you want to go ahead and select your grade level. You are in 7th grade. On the day of the test, you'll want to make sure that your name, your username that'll be on the test ticket that's given to you, your date of birth is all correct. But for today, you're just working as a guest. We want to take the 7th grade mathematics practice test, the one in red here. If you need to make any adjustments here, you may. If you need to make any final adjustments, you may, and just go ahead and hit yes, start my test. On the day of the test, this is where the instructions will be in case you forget how to use any of the tools. They'll all be here and you can read through them if you need to. You can always access it in the middle of the test as well. And let's hit begin test now. Okay, so now I will describe several tools that will help you with this computer-based test and you will practice using them. So at the top right of your corner up here, you see the formula, line reader, zoom out, and zoom buttons. Select the formula tool. A pop-up will show your reference sheet. You will need to scroll all the way down to see everything. You can move the formulas window around by dragging this top bar up here, and you can X out of it when you're done. Next to the formula button, you have the line reader tool. The line reader tool helps you track line by line as you read a question. Now select the line reader tool. When you select the line reader tool, the button will turn orange. You can move the line reader on the screen with the up and down arrows on your keyboard, or by clicking a line of your text with your mouse. Selecting the line reader tool, again, will return it back to its normal color. Next to the line reader button, you will see the zoom out and zoom in buttons. You can use these buttons to decrease and increase the size of text within the text page. 4 levels of magnification are available. You can practice using those tools. At the top right of the page, above the zoom buttons, you will see a small question mark in the circle. This is the help button. Select that help button. A pop-up window with the help guide, including the overview of the test site, test rules, accessing context menus will appear. Note that as with the formula window, you can move this around and just X out when you are done. Now look to the right of the question number in the middle of the page. You will see a context menu with 3 horizontal lines. It is right up here. Oh, no, right here, sorry. Click that to open the context menu. You'll see a circle with a lowercase I, a flag icon, a notepad, a grayed out line that says highlight section, and a set of letters with a horizontal line through them. Select the lowercase I. This is the tutorial button. A pop-up window will show a video of how to answer that question type. It has no sound on it, and it will not tell you how to answer the specific question, just how to answer this type of question. Okay, let's close out of that. Select the context menu again, and select the flag icon, mark for review. You'll be able to flag a question and review it later. You can mark an item for review by using the context menu or by right-clicking, if available on your device, in the question and answer area and selecting mark for review. Once you mark an item for review, the solid blue rectangle around the number for the item in which you are working will change to a striped blue rectangle in the top right corner folded over. And the item, you can see that right here, the item in which you are working will change to a striped blue rectangle in the top right corner, folded over, and the item number in the drop-down list at the top left corner of the screen will also be labeled as marked. After you finish reviewing a question, open the context menu and select Unmark for review. Select the context menu again and select Notepad. If you want to make notes for later reference, you can type them in the window. There is a new notepad for each question, though. To view your notes, you will need to return to the question where you type the note and select the notepad icon. As with other windows, you can click it, you can drag it around, and you can hit save and close when you are done. If you hit cancel, it will not save. All right, you can use the highlight section tool in some questions to highlight portions of a question. And this will change to a remove or reset highlighting when you're done. Then you can select the strike through tool, and you can use that to cross out options if you need to narrow it down. This is really good for the multiple response questions. I would suggest using that if you need it. Okay, click to the left corner of your screen. You'll see a drop-down menu with the question numbers. The drop-down will allow you to move jump around to different questions as long as you've seen them. All right, so question 1 is a multiple choice question. This question requires you to choose the answer you think is correct. To begin, you'll read it, you'll read the instructions, and you will answer with one question. Finally, click the button next to the answer option to select your answer. The button will become gray. Now select next. Question 2 is a matching item. For this question, you are required to read the item and click the correct checkboxes to answer the question. Select next to move on to question 3. Question 3, and go ahead and hit yes. Anytime that we skip a question, because we are just practicing right now, you can go back to some of these questions. Just hit yes on this warning message. Question 3 is an equation response item. The question type requires you to create a response or an expression using the buttons on the keyboard. To begin, you will read the question or the instructions. After reading the question, use the buttons on the screen to create an answer. You may also use the buttons on the keyboard to create an answer. Note that this tool is not a calculator. It will not perform calculations for you. It only allows you to enter a response or an equation. Begin by clicking in the answer space, which is the blank box above below the instructions and above the equation buttons. And once you click in that answer space, you'll see the blue cursor flashing. And then you can start typing on your keyboard or using these buttons right here. Okay. The arrows in the middle of the top row of the equation button panel allows you to undo or redo your last section. These right here. The square arrow with the X in the middle of the right side of the top row of equations button is the delete button. So it's basically your backspace. For this question, you will see a numerical keypad along with decimal point negative signs. On other equation response items, the keypad might include keys for additional functions and variables. Practice solving or answering question 3. And let's hit next. Question 4 is a grid item. It's called graphic response item display. It will require you to respond in different ways. And for this item, you're going to use the add point and the connect line buttons to create shapes on the graph. To add a point to the graph, select the add point button and click the location on the graph where you would like to add a point. When you are finished adding points to the graph, select the add point button again. To connect 2 lines on the graph, select the connect line button and then click the first and then the second point to connect them. When you're finished, hit the connect line button again. If you want to change your answer, hit the delete button and click on any point you want to delete. Deleting a point to which a line is connected will also delete that line. If at any time you want to stop using the delete tool or the add point or the connect line, just click this arrow button right here. When you're finished responding, check to make sure the answer space does not have any extra objects. So don't include anything extra in this drawing. Okay, let's go next. Question 5 is a table item. This question type requires you to click in the blank cells in the table and type in your responses. Only numerical values are accepted for table items. If you enter a non-numerical value into the box, you will receive an error message. Practice clicking on the blank cells and typing in a response. Go ahead and click Next until you are at question 7. This is also a graphic response item display or grid item. Different ones will require you to respond in different ways. In this one, you'll click the grid area of this dot plot to add points. All right, let's go ahead and go hit Next again. And we've reached the end of this section. We won't be able to come back to this section today, so we're going to move forward to section 2. We will practice how you will exit the test if you need to leave the room for an extended period of time. The pause button allows you to pause and exit the test for extended periods of time. Please only use the pause button if your administrator tells you to. For today, we're just going to hit No. Now we'll practice how you will complete session 1. From question 7, we're going to select the Next to access the review screen. And we're leaving the current section, so we want to say yes. And we are now in section 2, question 8. Okay. During section 2, you can use a calculator if you need to. On the calculator section, in case you forget your calculator, you will see a calculator button at the top. It is a standard scientific calculator. You probably won't use any of these buttons over here on the right. So do not use any of these buttons. Sorry, I'm at the left. Do not use any of these buttons on the left. Do not change degrees. Do not change it to radians. Leave it as degrees. You will only use this section on the right. Okay. Question 8 is a drag and drop hot text item. For questions like this, you will move objects to an answer space. To begin, you will read the question or instructions on the screen. You will see an object bank, which is over here in this gray area. Let's see if I can move this out of the way. I cannot. This is not part of your test. It's just something on my computer. Okay, so you'll just click an item in the object bank and you will just drag it onto this number line. Okay, if you need to change an answer once you drag the item from the object bank to the answer space, you can either drag the item to a different spot or drag the item right out. Remember that you should only leave objects in the answer space that are meant to be part of your answer. Leaving objects that you do not intend to be part of your answer in the answer space may negatively affect your score. Now go ahead and click Next until you hit question 12. And just hit yes until we make it all the way through. Oh, we're already at 12. Okay. This is a constructed response item. It's basically for your response. This type of question requires you to type your answer into the answer space by clicking in this box and typing. All right, let's go to question 13. This is a multi-select item. This question type requires you to choose all of the answers you think are correct. First, you will read the question or instructions on the screen. After you finish reading the question, read the answer choices. Finally, click the box next to the answer options you want to select. This is a great place to use this strike-through tool that I told you about. Okay, sometimes this question type will tell you a specific number of items to select. It most likely will not. Others, such as this question, ask you to select all correct options without specifying a number. Now go ahead and click Next until you hit question 15. This is another equation response item. However, the item contains additional features. The features on the right side of the key equation buttons panel are for special functions that allow you to create more complicated equations or expressions. These buttons will vary based on your question. For this question, you'll see the following buttons. You'll see plus, minus, multiply, and divide buttons. Remember, it's not going to do an operation for you. It's just you're writing an expression in some of them. On the second row, you'll see the less than, greater than, and so on buttons. Down here, you'll see a fraction, exponent, parentheses, and so on. The fraction button will create two boxes to form a fraction, with one box for the numerator and one for the denominator. Let's go ahead and click that. At the top, you can go ahead and click in one number, and then you can just click in the bottom box to type in your second number. To move outside of your fraction, either hit the arrow key to the right, or if you're over here, just click all the way to the right and you'll be outside of the fraction. Okay? If you need to add an exponent for any reason, just click this button right here. This is the exponent tool, and it's not working for some reason on my end, but if you were to click that on your end, it should open up two boxes where you'd write, for example, x squared. You put an x in the smaller box in the bottom and a 2 in the top. Okay, practice responding to this question. And then go ahead and click next until you hit question 22. This is a two-part question containing a grid item where you'll use the add, point, and connect line tools, and a drag and drop tool as well. Remember to only leave objects, or in this case numbers, in the answer space that you want to count as part of your answer. We've already discussed the remaining types in session 2, so you can go ahead and practice session 2. There are 23 practice items in this total session. Do not select the End Test button until you are absolutely done. Okay, so from here we want to go ahead and select the next review to get to our review screen. After question 23. Remember that the review screen will show you any session 2 questions that are unanswered or marked for review and allow you to return to those questions by clicking on the question number. Do not select a question number to review your response at this time. Select the End Test button at the top of the screen. You'll see this message. Click Yes to submit your test. And you'll hit Submit Test. Remember, make sure you are following your test administrator's instructions when you get to these parts where you change into a different session or stop your test. We'll go ahead and hit log out at this point, and you have successfully taken the practice test. I suggest that you practice this at home. I suggest that you take this practice test 1 or 2 times before the test so you are comfortable and know exactly what you're going to see.